Millionaire catch black, Maid protecting his special child. What happens next? Shocking. The mansion was spotless. Polished floors, chandeliers glittering even in daylight. The faint scent of lemon polish clinging to the air. Yet beneath all that perfection, there was a silence that felt heavy, almost suffocating. Elena, the black maid who had worked in the house for less than 6 months, felt it every day. She had grown used to scrubbing marble floors while hearing nothing but her own rag dragging across the stone. But what unsettled her most was not the silence of the house, but the silence of the little girl who lived there. Sophie, just 7 years old, sat curled in a wide armchair near the window. Her pajamas hung loosely on her thin frame, and her chest rose and fell with a slight wheeze. Sophie had been diagnosed with a respiratory condition when she was 4. It made her fragile, easily fatigued, and vulnerable to every cold breeze. While the doctors had said she could still live a full life with careful attention, Elena could see how the illness had already marked the child. Tired eyes, sunken cheeks, and a weariness far beyond her ears. Elena noticed Sophie coughing softly into the crook of her arm. Immediately, she abandoned the mop and knelt beside her. "Breathe slow, sweetheart," she said in a low, steady tone, brushing strands of Sophie's golden hair away from her clammy forehead. "In through your nose, out through your mouth. That's it." Sophie tried to follow, her little chest rattling slightly as she exhaled. She clutched a small stuffed lamb against her chest, her knuckles white with effort. "You'll be all right," Elena whispered. "I've got you." The words had barely left her lips when sharp heels clicked across the marble floor. Victoria, Sophie's mother, stepped in. Every movement was deliberate, her pearl necklace glimmering against her cream blouse. Her eyes, however, hardened the instant they fell on her daughter. "She's still sitting here." Victoria's tone was clipped, edged with irritation. "Elena, how many times must I tell you, don't let her lounge in the living room when she looks like that. Guests notice. They start asking questions." Elena felt her chest tighten. She was coughing. "Ma'am, I just wanted to help her calm down." Victoria's lips curved in something between a sneer and a smile. "Help. You're a maid. Stick to cleaning. She needs discipline, not coddling." The words hit Elena like a slap, but the greater wound was visible on Sophie's face. The girl lowered her eyes, hugging the lamb closer as though trying to disappear into it. For a moment, Elena almost spoke, almost shouted that Sophie needed compassion, not shame. But before she could, a deeper voice cut through the tension. "Victoria." It was Michael, Sophie's father, standing in the doorway. His tailored jacket hung loosely off one shoulder, his tie pulled loose. The weariness of long hours etched into his face. But when he looked at Sophie, his expression shifted, his features softened, and in 3 strides, he was kneeling beside his daughter. "What happened, Angel?" he asked gently, taking her hand in his much larger one. She was just coughing a little," Elena said quietly. Michael looked at her briefly, and in his eyes, Elena saw gratitude. Then he turned back to his daughter. "You don't have to hold it in, Sophie. You tell me if you're hurting." Sophie blinked rapidly, tears welling in her eyes. "It hurts when I breathe sometimes," she whispered. Michael's jaw clenched. He lifted her into his arms, pressing her carefully against his chest. "I've told you before, Victoria," he said, his voice sharper now. "Her health comes before appearances. I don't care what the neighbors think." Victoria scoffed, folding her arms. "You're too soft with her. Always have been. No wonder she's so weak." The air grew heavier. Elena felt her heart ache as Sophie pressed her face into her father's shoulder. Silent tears slipping down her cheeks. Michael stroked her back, his voice breaking with restrained anger. "She's not weak," he said firmly. "She's strong, stronger than either of us, and I won't stand by while she's made to feel otherwise." Elena stood frozen, her fists clenching inside her gloves. For the first time, she saw the line drawn clearly. A father who would fight for his fragile daughter, and a mother who cared more for her image than her child's well-being. And in the middle of it all was Sophie breathing unevenly, clutching her stuffed lamb as though it was the only thing tethering her to comfort. At that moment, Elena silently vowed as long as she worked in that house, she would protect this child no matter the cost. The night after the confrontation, the mansion felt even colder. Elena couldn't sleep. Every creak in the hallway made her heart race. But what kept her awake most was the sound she'd heard before heading to her quarters. Sophie's coughing, soft but relentless, echoing through the thin walls. By morning, Elena found Sophie curled on the sofa with dark circles under her eyes. Michael sat beside her, a mug of warm honey water in his hands. His tie was missing. His shirt wrinkled. He had clearly stayed awake with her all night. "You should have woken me," Elena whispered, kneeling near them. Michael shook his head. "She asked me not to." His voice cracked, exhaustion deepening it. "I can't stand watching her suffer. It feels like I'm failing her." Sophie reached out, tugging at Elena's sleeve with her frail fingers. "Don't tell Mommy," she whispered. "She'll be mad." That plea broke Elena's heart. She brushed the child's hair back gently. "No one will be mad, sweetheart. I promise." But the promise was short-lived. Later that afternoon, Victoria entered the living room, her heels striking against the floor like tiny gavel strikes. She froze at the sight of Sophie, lying on the sofa under a blanket, Elena at her side, holding a cool cloth to her forehead. "What now?" Victoria's voice cut through the room like glass. "Every time I walk in, she sprawled about looking sick. It's humiliating. Elena, remove her from here and stop coddling her. It only makes her worse." Elena stood slowly, her heart pounding, but she kept her voice steady. "With respect, ma'am, Sophie is sick. She needs rest and comfort, not shame." Victoria's nostrils flared. "Comfort? She'll never learn resilience if you keep treating her like porcelain. Do you know how many families wish they had this life? And yet, she wastes it with weakness." Something snapped inside Elena. "It isn't weakness," she said firmly, surprising even herself. "It's her body fighting every single day. She's stronger than you realize, but when you speak like that, you make her believe she's unworthy of love." The room went silent. Sophie's wide eyes darted between them. "You forget your place," Victoria hissed. "You're a maid. Nothing more." Before Elena could respond, Michael's voice thundered from behind. "Enough." He had walked in unseen, his face pale with rage. He set his briefcase down with a sharp thud. "Victoria, I won't listen to you belittle her again. Not our daughter and not Elena." Victoria's eyes widened. "Are defending her, a maid, over your own wife." "I'm defending what's right," Michael snapped. He strode across the room, kneeling again by Sophie. His hand cupped her tiny one, and his eyes filled with tears. "She deserves love, Victoria. She deserves to know she matters more than parties and appearances. And Elena is the only one showing her that." Sophie's lip trembled. For the first time in weeks, she whispered, "Daddy, don't fight." Michael kissed her forehead. "We're not fighting, Angel. We're making sure you're safe." He turned to Elena, then "Take her upstairs. Sit with her. I'll handle this." Elena obeyed, carrying Sophie upstairs, feeling the girl's heartbeat flutter against her chest. She sat with her until her breathing slowed, until exhaustion pulled her into sleep. Downstairs, muffled voices rose and fell. Victoria's shrill anger, Michael's measured but unyielding tone. Hours later, the house fell into silence again. The next morning, everything changed. Michael appeared in the kitchen where Elena was preparing tea for Sophie. He looked weary but resolute. "I've spoken with her doctors. We're getting Sophie the treatment she needs, no matter the cost." And Elena, his voice faltered, but he pressed on. "I want you here, not just as a maid. As someone I can trust with my daughter's life." Elena blinked, stunned. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes." Sophie's small voice croaked from the doorway. She stood there in her pajamas, clutching her stuffed lamb, her lips curved in a weak but genuine smile. "Please stay." Tears filled Elena's eyes. She knelt down and wrapped the girl in a gentle embrace. "I'll stay as long as you want me to, sweetheart. As long as you need me." Behind them, Michael exhaled, relief etched across his face. For the first time, he allowed himself to hope. Victoria, however, was nowhere to be seen. That evening, Elena overheard suitcases being dragged across the marble floors, followed by the slam of the front door. But upstairs, in a softly lit room, Sophie slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Her father seated protectively by her bedside, Elena's hand resting gently on hers. The perfect house had finally begun to feel like a home. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.